Number 4, there we go, in our our word problem section. All right, so this says Rachel's car rental company charges $40 per day plus a one-time surcharge of $60. So $40 per day, that's going to be variable based on the number of days, and then the flat fee of $60. Rebecca's car rental company charges $60 per day, so that'll vary based on the number of days with no surcharge. So part A says, after how many days will the cost of renting a car be the same for each company? And then part B, how much will it cost to rent a car for that many days? All right, so it looks in here like the variable would be how many days we're renting the car, right? So X can equal the number of days for our car rental. So for Rachel's car rental company, it's $40 per day. So $40 times the number of days that she rents for. So for one day, it'd be $40, 2 days, it'd be $80, 3 would be $120, and so on. Plus that one-time surcharge of $60. So we'll add just a flat $60 with no variable attached. And then for Rebecca's car rental company, it's $60 per day. So 60 times X times the number of days with no surcharge. So I could write a +0, but that would be kind of pointless. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So it says, after how many days will the costs be the same for each company? Or in other words, after how many days will the left side equal the right side? Will those costs be equal? So if we solve this equation, if we solve it for X, that will give us the number of days, right? That's our variable we're looking to solve for. So if I subtract 40x from both sides, it gives me 60 equals 20x. Divide both sides by 20, I get x equals 3. So my answer to part A will be 3 days. And then for part B, it says, how much will it cost to rent a car for that many days? So what's the cost for renting a car for 3 days? So we could use either side of this equation. This one looks like it's simpler on the right side. So if we take 60 times our 3 days, that gets us a cost of $180. So the answer to part B would be $180. Notice that I also could have used the left side as well, because the left and the right side are equal when we rent the car for 3 days. So we also could have done 40 times 3 plus 60, which is 120, plus 60, which gives us that same 180. And again, remember to use your units, so 3 days, $180. All right, looking at number 5, if the length of a rectangular pool is twice the difference of the width and 5 meters, and the pool's perimeter is 88 meters, then what are its dimensions? Okay, so for this, if you like drawing, if you're an artist, let's go ahead and sketch out a quick little rectangle there. And maybe I'll label this as the length of the pool and this the width. So that means this would also be a length and this would also be a width. And we don't know what the length and width are. That's what we're trying to find, right? What are the dimensions? All I know is that the length is twice. So where it says is equals, the length is twice the difference of the width and 5 meters. So if I'm calling the width W, then I could write the length of the pool in terms of this other variable, the width of the pool. So the length equals twice the difference. So that's going to be 2 times. And then the difference is we're going to subtract something from another thing. So I'm going to put parentheses around there. Twice the difference of the width and 5 meters. So twice the difference of the width and 5 meters. Twice W minus 5. All right, so the reason this helps us is now instead of having 2 variables, a length and a width, now we can kind of ignore that part about L and just think of these 2 sides as the width and the width, W and W, and then think of our lengths as 2 times W minus 5. So now we can only use one variable, our W. All right, so we also know that the perimeter of the pool is 88 meters, meaning when we add up the four sides, it's going to add up to 88. So if you want, you can do this kind of by brute force. 2 times W minus 5 plus another 2 times W minus 5 plus my width plus my second width equals 88. And if you distribute 2W minus 10 plus 2W minus 10 plus W equals 88. So if I add up all of my W's, of course, remember there's a 1 here and a 1 here. So I have 2, 4, 5, 6 W. And then minus 10 is minus 20 equals 88. Add 20 to both sides. So this gives me 6W equals 108. And divide both sides by 6. And 108 divided by 6 gives me 18. So I just solve for W. Let's see, and this problem is written in terms of meters. So I'm going to write my width, W, is 18 meters. M for meters. All right, so I've got my width, and then I still need to get my length. From up here, I know that my length is 2 times the width, which I now know is 18, minus 5. 18 minus 5 is 13, so 2 times that gives me 26, and including my units, 26 meters. And as a quick check, if I add up my perimeter, 18 plus 18 plus 26 plus 26, there's my 88. All right, so our final example on this page, number 6. You invested $20,000, part of it in a mutual fund that paid 9% annual interest. The rest of the money suffered a 5% loss. If the total annual income from both investments was $260, how much was invested at each rate? Okay, so we've got just a spare $20,000 sitting around, as we all do, am I right? Just kidding. So $20,000, we're going to split this into 2 funds. One earned 9%, and the other lost 5%. All right, so we're splitting this $20,000 between these 2 accounts. Let's say that we put X dollars into that 9% interest earning account, right? So how much money is left over to put into that remaining 5% account, the 5% loss account? So we want to set up with a way to write that amount in terms of X, in terms of the variable that we already have. We could put Y there, but then we can't solve for either one until we convert one variable into the other. So we want to write one amount in terms of X, okay? So for example, let's say I put $1,000 into that first account. I'm just going to make stuff up here. So let's say I put $1,000 in. That means I would have 19,000 left over, right? Or in other words, 20,000 minus 1,000. That's my remaining 19,000, right? What if I put 4,000 in this account? That would leave me with the remaining 16,000 from my 20,000, right? In other words, 20,000 minus 4,000. I can't type. 20,000 minus 4,000 leaves behind that 16,000. So no matter what X is, if I take 20,000 and subtract X, that will give me my leftover dollar amount that I have to invest, right? So I can write this second amount as 20,000 minus X. Okay, so no matter what I put into that first account, if I take 20,000 and subtract that X away, that gives me my remaining amount. So you'll see this a lot with these investment problems. Whatever your total amount is, when you're investing in the 2 accounts, you'll put X in one account, and then you'll put whatever your total is minus X into the second account. All right, so in this case, 20,000 minus x. All right, so now we want to set up an equation. And in terms of the interest, I can see I'm getting 9% interest earnings off of the x dollars. So 9% as a decimal is 0.09 times x, the interest rate times the principal that I invested. And this is all over 1 year, so times the time of 1 year gives me the interest from that account. Make sure you're using the minus sign for the second part. So minus 5%, 0.05, times the dollar amount that I invest in that account, 20,000 minus x. So this represents the interest that I earn overall from the two accounts. And I know that the total annual income over the course of 1 year from both the accounts was $260. So these two combined should equal 260. So there's my equation that I can set up to solve this. All right, from here, 0.09x minus, and then I'm going to distribute 0.05 times 20,000. Make sure you're typing this carefully so you don't mess up your decimals. So minus 1,000, and then negative times negative gives me positive plus 0.05x equals 260. Now I can add 1,000 to both sides. And on the left side, I'll go ahead and combine my 0.09x and my 0.05x. If you're not so hot at adding decimals in your head, use your calculator. 0.09 plus 0.05 gives you 0.14. And then bring down the x along with it, equals 1,260. And final step, we're going to divide both sides by 0.14. So 1260 divided by 0.14 gives me 9,000. So I got 9,000. Notice that the way that I wrote my original problem, this will help me know where the 9,000 goes. Is it in the 9% gain account or is it in the 5% loss account? So when I just solved and got my solution of 9,000, I was solving for x. So I know that x equals 9,000. So that means x dollars, $9,000 are invested at that 9% gain. Okay, because I put x dollars in my 9% account. That means the leftover, 20,000 minus 9,000, which would give me the remaining $11,000, was invested at the 5% loss. And if I want to double check that, 0.09 times $9,000. So I earned $810 in interest from that, minus 0.05 times 11,000. There's my 260.